Angel rapping, false idol smashing. Type of friend, ask him, is this lion attacking? All right, welcome to another show, Jack Hakimian show. And it's a blessing today to have these two wonderful guests, Sara Leon and Pedro. And they are with the Faith and Freedom South Florida Coalition. And I'm excited to have you guys here. Thank you guys for being here.
It's a pleasure.
Amen. Amen. Well, Sara, tell me a little bit about what got you involved with this organization, this national organization that many of us, of course, have heard about, and those who haven't. What got you involved in this organization, and what is this organization about?
Well, I've always had a heart for our country and our community and what's going on and how I could make an impact in the community.
Okay.
And so I felt the tug of the Lord, and I felt that I needed to do something. I just couldn't sit idle and let the things continue to happen the way that they are happening right now.
Yeah. And then this coalition is what's its mission? What does it do?
All right. Well, the Florida Faith and Freedom Coalition is part of a wider network, the National Faith and Freedom Coalition, led by Ralph Reed, and the Florida Faith and Freedom Coalition, led by Jim Callinger in Tallahassee. Our purpose basically is education, social advocacy, and citizen action.
Okay.
Involvement in the community.
Okay. And then I know there's some issues that really are dear to your heart, which I got a chance to hear it at that meeting Sunday, and some of those issues that are dear to the coalition's heart is what that you guys advocate for.
Absolutely. One of the most important things that we're concerned about is what's going to happen to our nation if we continue on the same track. So far, we have seen the degradation in the communities, and we have also seen that morality is on the downhill slide.
Okay.
We have seen basically that we need to do something to bring back our community, and it needs to be done from, I believe, an evangelistic way, and also I think we also need to do it from a policy point of view, because people are being educated, but they're being educated pretty much in the schools, and they're being brainwashed.
Okay. So it's basically a lot of secular socialistic philosophy, and it's really causing people not to apply their faith when it comes to public policy or just life in general. And then Pedro has been working with you for how long?
Quite some time here. He is a real trooper. He has really got a heart for the same vision and the same mission that I have.
Okay. And then Pedro, what got you involved in working with General Leon? I call her General. She's
Well, I tell you, all my life, I've been a rebel, being independent and being capable of generating my own thoughts. And like Sara, I've been very upset as I see the country degenerating in a very fast manner, and even the church not doing what it's supposed to do. And I say I got to be myself, and myself is to be involved. And I've been in this country for 54 years, and the first things I did is to go into the army, because we were told that we were going to fight against Castro. So I volunteered to go into the army, and nothing happened because there was a Khrushchev-Kennedy treaty, so nothing did happen. But then I went to school, and still I always been involved fighting the battle that I believe that have to be fought.
Yeah. Wow. And I know those early Cubans, much like most immigrants, understand how real, politics is. That your life can be rocked when you get some people who see themselves as kings and gods into office.
Yes, I saw that in Cuba very fast. Castro started executing thousands of people, bringing them to the wall, and It was sad. At first, 98% of the people believed that he was the biggest thing under the sun,
Yeah.
and there was not at all. But he fooled the people, because the people that don't know are easy to fool. And my people, politically, they were irresponsible, so we lost the country.
Now, but was the stage set much like what we see happening in America right now? Years before Castro came in, was there an ideological battle that went on that allowed Castro to convince people that if I come into power, I'm going to liberalize you, I'm going to free you from this oppression?
No, not really.
Or was it just out of nowhere? It just came.
No. There was planning. As a matter of fact, Castro started being involved in 1947, what it was called the Bogotazo. In other words, he participated in Colombia. Many people got killed. There were riots, and we're talking about 1947. So he been involved for a long time, and he was connected to the Communist Party, and he received help in Mexico from the Communist Party and to give weapons and so on. And before he went to Cuba in 1952,
Wow.
the government took him, put him in jail, and 1 year later they released him. You see, although Batista was a dictator, Batista have taken over in 1952, but he was a soft dictator, was not like the other dictator that cut your head. He was a dictator because he was not really elected for the people, and he had a coup d'etat, that took over the government. But no, what happened is more involved than this. It's very little known what I am going to say right now. But basically, Castro had the help of the State Department of the United States when that gave the support. As a matter of fact, in the end of 1958, the State Department of the United States, the only solution for the Castro, for Cuba is the Castro, to bring Castro to power.
Now, was it, because I know that Roosevelt, right, he had a very big government philosophy. And some could say that really socialism, in a way, was introduced in a big way under Roosevelt. And he was there from the 30s all the way into the early 40s. Do you think, was the State Department ideologically thinking, were they sympathetic to Castro, or was Castro thinking in terms of capitalism? Like how did these two people become bedfellows?
No. The State Department very much was infiltrated by the communists.
Okay.
We are talking many years back. This is nothing new. But you see, the communist infiltration in this country have been going on for many decades. Basically, it started in the 30s. Joseph Stalin, which was the Soviet Union boss, said, we cannot beat the United States with cannons. We have to use subversion.
Okay. Now, Sara, how does the Faith and Freedom Coalition, how does it play into this experience, right? And this what we're seeing increasingly in America. How do you guys see yourselves kind of helping solve the problem? And where does God come in this? Because I know it's faith and freedom. Why is God a critical component? Why do you guys exist in response to this type of totalitarian kind of philosophy and morality?
Okay, well, Faith and Freedom, first of all, is an organization that represents exactly that, faith in the community. We need to be able to understand that without morality, you don't have a country. We need to be able to understand that one of the most important things that we have is the faith that God gives us. And basically that's found inside the church. And unfortunately, the church is starting to slip away, basically, and they are afraid to address these moral issues such as abortion and same-sex marriage and other issues that relate to the family. We are basically understanding that those issues are put on the shelf when they really need to be on the forefront. One of the reasons I would say that that is happening, and I've got to say this, is because of the Johnson Amendment. The pastors are afraid to preach from the pulpit the truth of God, but I mean the whole truth of God, not the compromised truth of God. What feels good to the congregation or what may get them in trouble and standing up for righteousness' sake. That is where we need to get back to basics, I believe. And that is one of the things that is lacking. That's what Faith and Freedom is trying to bring into the community, and we do that through educating. And how do we educate the public? Basically, we present them with the issues that affect the traditional family.
Yeah.
And those issues basically right now are not being talked about inside the church. That is one of the things that I think we need to bring back. Now, the Johnson Amendment, which was Johnson's amendment that was brought back, I believe, in 1954, he basically tried to deny the pastors and to restrict them to be able to speak freely from the pulpits because it would take away their 501c3 status and their IRS status. We need to get back to standing up for righteousness no matter what it costs us. In the days of Paul, they did that. They were actually, as Pedro mentioned, they were beheaded, they were killed, they were put before a guillotine, but they weren't afraid to speak their faith. They weren't afraid to speak the truth of God.
Absolutely.
So we feel that that is part of what Faith and Freedom does. We educate the community, we educate the churches, and we stand up for truth and righteousness.
Good, good. Well, we're going to come right back and ask you guys a few more questions.